Okay, so for our last math assignment that we did on Friday, you were reading stem and leaf plots. And so that's how we looked at and analyzed the stem and leaf plot. Today we are going to make stem and leaf plots. So I just want to give you a quick reminder of what a stem and leaf plot is. Okay, so remember we think of it sort of like a tree. Okay, and so each of the stems is one part of the place value, and then each of the leaves is another part. Okay, so we always, always, always need to look at the key for a stem and leaf plot to know what the place value is, to know what is the limb, okay, and or the stem, and what are the leaves. Okay, so for instance, if I have this, okay, this line right here is separating and telling me this right here is my stems and this right here is my leaves. And if it says that this equals 121, then what that means is that this place is my ones place, and then they're combining the hundreds and the tens place on here, meaning that my limbs are the hundreds and tens. Okay, so 120, okay, with the ones place not there, because then this side is the ones place. So this leaf right here would be considered 121 because it's on the 120 limb, okay, stem. All right, so we're going to take that information that we used and we're going to actually make our own today. So I'm going to show you what that looks like. This problem says the table shows the cost of 10 different concert tickets. I can see that because they're showing me the title right here. So it's the cost of concert tickets in dollars. Make a stem and leaf plot for the data. When we're done with that, we're going to say, what conclusions can you make about the ticket prices? Okay, so first I need to think about what I want my key to be. So I'm looking at each of these numbers and I can see that all of the numbers go to the tens place. So I think I want my key to be, this will be the tens and this will be the ones. Okay, so tens place, ones place. And I can just pick any random number up here. So I'm going to pick this one. And I put it in my key. So this would be a 5 in the tens place and a 1 in the ones place. And equals 51. Okay? So now that I know what my key is, now I have to see first what are my stems. Okay? So if all of these numbers are in the tens place, I need to see what my tens digits are. So I see I have a 4, I have a 3, I have a 5, and it looks to me like all of the numbers are either a 4, a 3, or a 5. So I'm going to say that my stems are 30, 40, and 50. Okay. Now, remember, because of this key over here, I don't actually have to say that they're 30. I just put the 3 because remember, this is my tens place and this is my ones place. Okay. Now I'm going to erase some of this that I put over here because I want to make sure that we have all of the numbers. Okay. So what is the easiest way to do this is to take one number at a time. So I'm going to take this 42. Since it's in the 40s, it's going to go on this line with the 4. But remember, this 4 stands for 40, right? So what I need is a 2, a 42. So I'm going to cross that off because I already have it down there. Okay. I'm going to look here. I'm going to say, ooh, this is a 39. So it needs to go in with the 30s. Okay. And it's a 39. Okay. I have a 50. Okay. 5 in the tens place and a 0 in the ones place. So that goes here, 50. Now, one thing that's really important that I didn't point out before now is that my leaves should be in numerical order. Okay? What I mean by that is if I look at my next number is 38. So I know it needs to go in the 30s. But you see how this is 39? I don't want to put 39 and then 38. I want them to be in order starting over here. So I'm going to switch this 9 and 8 and instead have 38 and 39. Okay, so that they're in order. So I see a lot of the rest are 4s. I'm going to come back to that. Let me do this 51 and get that out of the way. So obviously it goes in with the 50s and it's a 1, so that will come after my 0. So there's my 51. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and look at these numbers. I see that I have a 44, a 45, 2 46s, and a 47. So I want to write those in that order. Okay, so 44 is going to come after 42. Then my 45. I then have 2 46s. And I finally have a 47. Now, one of the things that I do when I'm making a stem and leaf plot is I always need to double check and make sure that I have all of the leaves. So I can see here I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I need to have 10 leaves down here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, now I know for sure that I have all my leaves. If I had counted 10 up here in the table and I only had 9 in my stem and leaf plot, then I need to go back and I need to figure out which one am I missing. Or if I counted 10 but I somehow have 11 down in my stem and leaf plot, I need to see which one I put in there too many times. Okay, so going back to this question, it says, what conclusions can you make about the ticket prices? Okay, well, I can see that $46 was the one that was the most, okay, the price that was the most because it's the only one that has 2 46s. All the rest of them only have one number. I can see that $51 was the highest ticket amount and $38 was the lowest ticket amount. I can also see that most of the tickets were in the $40 range. Okay, so that's what they mean when they say, what conclusions can you make? It really just means looking at that stem and leaf plot, what can I tell about that information, about that data? Now we're going to answer a couple of problems about stem and leaf plots. So it says for 1 through 3, use the table that shows costs of several candles. So we have candles right here. So we're using this data table to answer questions 1 through 3. So in question 1, it says order the data from least to greatest. Okay, least to greatest. All right, so I'm looking at that and I see we've got some that are single digits. So it looks like 5 is the smallest. And then 6. And then we have 2 8s. Okay, notice how I am crossing them off as I write them down. Okay, then I notice 10 would be the next one. 12. There's 2 15s, a 20, and a 25. Okay, so again, like I did last time, I need to make sure that I have all of the leaves. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I count down here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So question number 2, if you made a stem and leaf plot of the data, what numbers would you use for the stems? Okay, so if I have my stem and leaf plot for this one, what would I use here in the stem? Think about that for a minute. Okay, I think since most of these numbers are in the tens place, I probably would use the tens place for my stems, and I'd probably use the ones place for my leaves. Okay, and then the last one is saying write a key for the stem and leaf plot. So if I'm using this, my key would look something like this. Remember, we have that line that separates them. That's this line, right? Okay. So if I'm saying that this is the tens and this is the ones, I pick one of those numbers. Okay, so let's just say I pick the 25 and I write it like this. Okay, because that would be a 2 would be here, right? Because that's the tens place. And a 5 would be here because that's the ones place. And so the key would equal 25. Okay. All right, so number 4 says a stem and leaf plot has a key 2, 6 equals 2 6/10. How would you add 3 8/10 to the plot? Okay, so that means that if I have my stem and leaves like this, they're saying that the stems in this one is the ones place, and the leaves are actually the tenths place. Okay, so if I want to write 3 8/10, I write the 3 in the ones place and an 8 in the tenths place. Okay, and last question. Jackson wants to make a stem and leaf plot for 10 data values ranging from 10 to 39. Will there be 10 stems? Will there be 10 leaves? Explain. We're going to talk about this one together.